那我们请罗斯他来这边，他是亚特兰大的发展委员会 ARC 的负责人，所以他今天跟我们讲一下这个主题，好吗
？Greetings, everyone. Greetings. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm excited to talk with you about the project that we're working on called Tactical Urbanism.
那今天我们就是讲一下，这是其中一个计划，那他们 ARC 要开始做的，所以我们想给大家表演一下这个计划，然后问一下你们大家有什么意见这样子。
So in relationship to the questions that you just answered, we will be demonstrating how the region can create the type of community where older adults can age well, and then younger folks can also be a part of this great community.
那除了刚才我们问的那些问卷以外，那我们就是想问一下大家，怎么样才可以把我们的现在住在我们的社区里面，可以让我们就是年长人，像我爷爷奶奶爸爸妈妈，他们可以过得舒服一点。然后不只是他们，给我们这些年轻人也是，让我们将来可以过得舒服一点。
Many of you may know that over the past 100 years, that the life expectancy has soared from the early 40s to the mid 80s. So we're all living longer. As a matter of fact, since this session began, we've all aged a little bit, right?
那过去100年呢，人们的寿命从40年代到80年代也提升了很多。那我奶奶已经100岁了，所以我们大家的寿命也一直的不像以前一样，可以70、80岁，现在已经都100岁以上，都已经很正常了。
And Atlantans are living longer than ever before, yet the region's physical environment and infrastructure, the investments, and all those things that support aging well, such as transportation, affordable housing, they continue to be made with little consideration for this newfound and unprecedented longevity. The question we now face is, what does it mean to live beyond life expectancy, beyond expectations?
那人们的寿命一直开始提升了，这都是因为20世纪的科学、公共卫生局和医学的功劳。那预期这会这样继续很久。可是呢，亚特兰大的居民越来越长寿，可是在于他们的地区自然环境与基础设施的投资上的关注却很少，没那么多人来关心。尤其是对于现在我们新发现的长寿，那我们现在我们大家都要问一下自己，什么是活到超出预期寿命？
And in the Atlanta region, the Atlanta Regional Commission and our stakeholders, we are challenging the region to contemplate these questions and to reimagine how we can design communities for all ages and for all abilities.
那尤其是在亚特兰大地区，那我们 ARC 就是亚特兰大地区发展委员会和利益相关者们正在挑战该地区来审视这个问题和重新想象一下，我们怎么可以创建与改良适合给每一个人，不管年龄与能力的一个新的美好的社区。
So through community involvement, your involvement today, we are examining how the region can join communities around the globe who are analyzing their challenge and their changing populations and their challenges dealing with such, and how to make plans and preparations to accommodate all.
所以呢，通过社区的参与，就像现在我们举办的中华总会举办的这个社区的参与，我们正在研究亚特兰大地区该怎么加入，已经正在分析人口的变化和做计划与准备，可以适应给所有的人的地区。
We have collected stories of individuals living in their 70s, 80s, and 90s in the Atlanta region. And we are showing how they are living beyond expectations, how they are attempting to remain in their neighborhoods and in their communities.
那我们从那些打算能继续居住在自己的社区里，年龄70、80、90岁的人以上，收集了很多资料。
ARC has been out in the community engaging baby boomers, Generation Xers, millennials, local officials, and others about what it means to grow older in Atlanta and within the region, and what is needed to live beyond expectations.
那亚特兰大地区发展委员会 ARC 呢，它一直在社区里与婴儿潮一代、X 一代的千禧时代的地方官员和其他人来表达，在亚特兰大地区养老和活到超出预期到底是什么意义？
Through focus groups, community forums, stakeholder groups, community meetings, and also a telephone town hall that we hosted in partnership with AARP, and perspectives from diverse groups of individuals and diverse groups of residents. We're collecting information to inform ARC of present and future work.
所以呢，我们透过焦点小组、社区论坛、关键利益相关者会议、晚上调查以及其他来收集不同群体的意见和观点，来协助 ARC 目前和未来的计划。所以我们需要您的帮助。
And now we're going to talk about tactical urbanism. And just 2 weekends from today, 2 Saturdays from today, the region is invited to see what a lifelong community really looks and feels like.
所以我们2个星期前，今年6月呢，我们做了一个该地区被邀请去体会与感觉一个终身的社区。我们可以给你看一下，你可以这样走这样子。
2 blocks of Auburn Avenue in Atlanta will be transformed into a vibrant destination that appeals to and supports individuals young and old. And let's kind of take a look at what possibilities are and what we're looking to do in that community. So this is just a Sweet Auburn. This is one of the senior high-rises.
所以呢，我们在 Auburn 大街里的2个街区，我们把它改造成一个充满活力的目的地。 无论老少都会被吸引与舒适的居住在那里。那我们现在可以看一下图片。
And the inspiration for tactical urbanism comes from the idea called open streets. It is inspired by open streets. We have a consultant called Street Plans out of New York who does this all over the U.S. and throughout actually other nations as well.
那其中一个是我们请了一个专业人士从纽约下来。 他给我们看一下，把街道打通、打开一下，可以让人民可以在那边街上可以走来走去这样子。
So you'll see here, just for a second. I'm sorry, I don't have my pointer. You'll see a street where it's just cars and people aren't walking or moving about. Well, through tactical urbanism, we take that, we turn this street into we call a complete street or open street. You can see people on their bicycles and walking in the street. So we move it from being this to being what you see over there.
所以你们可以看一下第一张图片呢，什么都没有，什么人都没有，只有车在开来开去。可是第2张图片呢，就有很多人，因为他们把大街可以让人就是说在那边走路、散步、走来走去都很安全的，这才是我们的 ARC 现在在做的这个计划的其中之一。
I'd also like to add. In many countries, people enjoy riding their bicycles throughout their lifetime. And so part of tactical urbanism is to push the usage of bicycles throughout communities in the U.S. So we want to make streets more bicycle friendly so that whether you are an older adult or a young person, you can enjoy riding your bicycle.
就像在其他的国家，在亚洲里面，我们都可以骑脚踏车啊，或者是自己走路，可以到这边，从这边到那边，那做的比较方便的。那我们希望把现在的地区我们改成像在亚洲一样，可以就是从这边到另外一边就不用开车，也可以骑脚踏车，或者是走路过去都可以的，方便的。
Another concept of open streets is where children can play. They can enjoy the streets with cars.
那当然也是我们要为我们的将来的小孩子来着想，他们可以在街上这样玩耍，也不用担心说有车会撞到他们或者怎么样。这样子的话，他们在街上玩也会很安全。
So demonstrating that age-friendly design can benefit not only residents but the economy as well of a local community. this is exciting and particularly targeted to local residents of the community. Elected officials, planners, developers, architects whose short and long-term concepts and decisions can help the region adapt and prepare. And so through our tactical urbanism demonstration, individuals throughout the region will, if you go back just one more, go up one, that's it, yes. Individuals throughout the region will be able to voice their own opinions about their respective communities. And so some of the things that you would like to see in your community. And at this event, 2 Saturdays, June 21st and 22nd, individuals will be able to share what they would like to see.
所以呢，同时呢，让居家生活环境不再只是针对年轻家庭而设计，更要把年长者的居住和活动需求纳入社区规划考量，也展示一个安全的街道和对于新业务以及可以维持一个健康的日常生活的潜力。这将不只对居民有利，也对当地社区的经济有很大的帮助。这一激动人心的事件，特别是针对当地居民、民选官员、规划师、开发商、业者师。那我们6月21号还有22号会有一个，希望大家可以听一下。
And I want to point out there are 5 elements of citizen involvement. It is important to hear everyone's voice, to know what everyone wants to see or needs in their community. Each person may have a different perspective, so it is important to learn what those perspectives are. The first one is vision.
那现在就是大家要进入的地方，我们需要每一个人要提出意见。你们自己希望将来要什么样的地区可以让自己舒服一点？当然每个人的想法都不一样，所以每个人都有一个声音可以让我们知道，跟我们表达，这样子可以帮助我们的计划里面可以达到大家的要求。
So vision is a deliberate approach to instigating change in your community.
第一个呢，就是 vision， 就是看一下你们自己现在的社区里面要有什么样的改变，想要有什么样的改变。
The second is context. It's offering of local ideas as a response to local challenges. What are the challenges in your community? And then what is the context that you can place your ideas in?
然后第二个就是 context， 就是现在在社区里面有什么样的挑战力，那有什么难处？那这样子，你们大家可以把自己的想法说出来的话，那我们看一下怎么可以就是胜过这个挑战力。
Another element of tactical urbanism demonstration is that it employs not only vision and context of the community, the residents, but agility. So it is a short-term project. It's very quick.
那这是一个很短暂的计划，是很快的。可是我们需要大家都说自己的想法给我们听。
And then it has value. It's very low risk yet high reward.
当然，这个创造很好的社区呢，其实不是什么危险性，或者是对我们有不好的好处。这是一个对大家都会有好的好处的一个计划。
And then most importantly, as we've mentioned before, that it must include the community. It must include the local residents. Those are the individuals who have the voice, who have the need, who have the vision, and who have the context. And so the community must be involved in order to develop the social capital and the other things that are needed for that community. So the community must be involved.
当然，最重要的还是再讲一次，我们的社区，我们华人就是要团体，我们要团结，团结以后，然后说出我们自己的想法。不说的话呢，他们就也不知道我们到底要什么样的社区，将来对我们有好处，是不是？所以我们现在需要每一个人，等一下都提供你们的意见，你们想你们要什么样的未来，让自己可以住得更舒服一点。
So as the 21st century offers the promise of longevity, but for the promise to be realized, communities must become places where people remain healthy, where they remain engaged throughout their lifetime. And to do that, we need more housing and transportation choices and better strategies for maintaining our health, as well as expanding access to services.
所以呢，21世纪提供了长寿的承诺，但对于要实现的诺言，社区必须能成为可以让人民维持健康、终其一生从事。我们需要更多的住房和交通的选择，更好的专业来维持健康和广大服务。所以我们需要听一下你们的意见。
So as science and medicine continue to advance our opportunity to live longer, community design and infrastructure cannot continue to build and invest as if none of us ever grow older.
所以随着科学和医学继续推进我们能长寿的机会，社区设计和基础施设无法继续建设和投资，就好像我们永远不会老。
And just looking at this slide, it's another premise of tactical urbanism where the community just took over the busy street.
那这是 Times Square 的纽约哈，你可以看一下，大家都知道纽约 Times Square 是最忙的其中一个最忙的街。可是你看这些居民呢，他们把这个街道就好像他们可以休闲的地方，所以这就是我们想要的一个将来，是不是？
So as a region, we cannot continue to spend thousands and millions of dollars upon dollars pretending that aging is not happening, because it is. Longevity will be the demographic trend that defines the 21st century. And the region has the opportunity to plan and prepare to maximize the potential of this shift, or we can deny it or we can delay it. But it's going to happen at some point. While other metro regions around the globe are already moving ahead, ARC is looking forward to having this conversation with all of you today to see how we can move the Atlanta region forward and living beyond expectations. Thank you.
那作为一个地区呢，我们不能继续花好几百万来假装老化不会发生，一定会发生的嘛。那长寿将是21世纪的人口发展的定义，该地区有机会计划和准备，以最大的限度地发挥这种转变的潜在，或拒绝和延迟，或者是你们可以考虑说我现在没有什么意见，我现在过得很舒服，那我可以，那我们就拒绝这个或延迟这个计划。可是还是我们的老化还是会发生的，所以不然的话，我们可以看着全球其他的地区向前往进的时候，我们只是在后面很落伍的在跟着他们。所以我们现在就要说出我们的意见，我们要表达一下，我们要跟进他们。
At this time, I'm open to any questions.
那现在如果有任何问题的话，请举手，好吗？好 ，Peter。
No, I'm just saying that if you want to bring something like this, you prioritize the funds.
That's a very good question. For this particular project that ARC is doing in just 2 weeks, we received a grant from Grant Makers in Aging and the Pfizer Foundation. We also had some other small supportive grants from Fulton County Office of Community Development and from an organization called People for Bites. People for Bites is an international organization. It's an international nonprofit who helps to really move bicycling forward, particularly in the U.S., where it's not as popular in most cities, but gains a lot of traction in a lot of cities throughout the U.S. They recently chose Atlanta as one of the sites that they would support and help move the whole cycling movement forward in Atlanta, creating safe streets for those who choose to ride their bicycles. So there was some funding that we had to have to be able to do this. The cost to be able to pull off this kind of event, we get that question all the time. Just for a small community, a lot of times a community can just go out with the things, hammer and nails and things out of your garage and out of your basement and set something up in a day because it's just a short-term demonstration, but it can be done with few resources. For us, it's been probably a lot more resources than most would put into it because we're doing this for the region. But for a typical community, you could pull this off in a day or two on a shoestring budget, anywhere from as little as $2,000 or $3,000 to about $11,000 in materials alone, just materials, to build something out like this.
Is this for permanent or temporary?
It's temporary to show the community and particularly to demonstrate to elected officials what your community could look like if there were just some investment put into the community. But what the whole tactical urbanism has done in many cities, even in Times Square, where you saw the people sitting out, they've now turned that into a plaza. So cars no longer ride through there because they thought, well, this worked pretty well. And it was just citizens who got together and said, you know, we want somewhere to go on our lunch hour, or during the day, we want somewhere to sit and enjoy ourselves. And now it's a permanent site.
那 Peter 就问说，那我们这个计划，那我们基金是从哪里来呢？从我们身上吗？还是从哪里来？那他Rosalie 就讲说，这些都是很多的那些机构，他们给给 ARC 的一个grant， 就是一个基金。可是呢，我们可以，他说甚至我们可以像刚才看到的那个Auburn大街，那只是一个暂时就是给城市里面的他们那些官员给他们看一下的时候，这个虽然是暂时的，我们先白色的这样子给你看一个 demo， 可是这可以变成我们的未来。那如果要做一个这种的话，差不多花2000到11000就好了，就我们可以差不多2天就可以摆出。比方说，如果把 Assembly 这边就是给他们看一下一个未来，我们是希望什么样的。那我们给他展示看了以后，如果他们满意的话，那我们希望他们可以投资这个财务的方面，然后让我们成为这个暂时的变成永久的适合给大家的一个社区。
Any more questions?
还有没有什么其他问题呢？
The region is include the metropolitan Atlanta area or Atlanta city itself?
Well, that's a good question. When we speak of the Atlanta region, we're speaking of a 10-county area. It's a 10-county area. Actually, the area in the survey that Matisse, are you able to pull that up? There's a question in the survey where she asked if you lived in one of these counties, and that's the actual region. So this is what ARC considers the Atlanta region. Yes. So there is Atlanta, and then there's the region, which is comprised of these. A lot of times you'll be traveling, and someone might live in Rockdale County, but say you're in New York, they ask you where you're from, you say Atlanta. I know I do that. I live in Cobb, but I always say I'm from Atlanta. So it's comprised of the 10-county area.
那我们有问，就是说亚特兰大的话，是只是讲说亚特兰大，我们就是当初那个亚特兰大而已吗？不是，是这10个 county 都有算在内。如果你住在 Gwinnett， 住在 DeKalb， 住在 Fulton 的话，都有算在这里面。
So that means when you ever have people want to do something, they have to work with a county, not with altogether in the state or.
Well, if you're interested in tactical urbanism, the whole premise of tactical urbanism actually started with just citizens saying, this is something we want to demonstrate. So, no, you don't have to work with county government to be a citizen group that wants to go out to demonstrate something. However, it's probably good to get their buy-in first instead of later, but you know, there's a train of thought that it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask for permission. So that's the whole thought of tactical urbanism, that it is driven by the citizen and not the government.
像我们刚才所有看到的那些 example 计划里面，都是由我们这些不只是华人，就是其他的那些住在那个城市里面的人，由他们开始的。当然了，如果我们可以得到就是城市里面的那些官员的准许的话，是比较好一点，由他们支持。可是呢，这些都是由我们开始。比方说，他刚才有讲说，那纽约 Times Square。 那其实那是由他们那边住在那边的人开始的，他们有一天就说，我们要在这边，我们需要一个午餐的时候可以坐下来，可以好好吃午餐的 时间，所以他们就把那个 Times Square 那边全都坐下来，在那边开始自己建造了一个可以让自己有休闲的地方。那只是暂时的，可是现在呢，等他们这个城市里面的官员看了以后，就把它变成了一个永久的。现在他们就把那个地方挡掉，然后车不能进入，而他们可以在那边休闲、吃午饭、聊天这样子。
Thank you very much.
谢谢，还有没有什么其他的问题呢？
Okay, thank you, Rod. So the next step, we're really here to get your ideas. We really want to know what you think about this and what ideas you have for age-friendly communities. So in just a moment, we're going to invite you to have some small group conversations. I invite you to get together with 4 or 5 other people, make a little circle, and then have a conversation about these 2 questions.
好，谢谢大家，我们今天。那现在是我们的这个付费已经完了，那现在是也需要你们的协助了。那我们希望把你们分成小组，然后就是讨论一下，因为这将会是你们的将来，你们未来可以你们的住的怎么样才可以住的比较舒服一点，或者是你们希望有什么有比较更宽的街道，还是可以骑脚踏车，那些不管是有什么样的想法，请跟我们讲一下，大家可以先讨论，讨论以后，我们需要其中一个人可以收集那些大家的意见，然后我们收集这些意见以后，我们会从这个计划里面来就是 events。
那现在就是分成5个人一个小组，就看是这个来，应该就是一组这样子，就是大家分个5人一个小组。
And then we just need 1 volunteer in each group to take notes on this form for us, just with your answers to, if you are imagining yourself at 75 or 80 years old, how do you want your community to look? If you can write those ideas down for the whole group. And then the second question, what action steps are needed to create more age-friendly communities? So if just 1 person in the group would write for everybody, that would be great.
好，一组里面其中一个人可以，如果可以负责的话，可以写一下说大家把大家的意见就是写下来，希望要什么样的好的社区。然后第二个地方呢，就是说，觉得我们可以做些什么，可以把这个社区改得更良好。所以如果5、6个人的话，大家可以动来动去，或者你们可以过来一起，也可以。如果你们需要椅子动来动去都可以，没有什么限制的。
上面讲的就是你要怎么样去然后呢，尽可能的少进，比如说你
Thank you.